Hi there everyone. In this video I'm going to be talking about modal verbs of weak obligation. So in the previous video we talked about strong obligation, so must and have to. In this we're going to focus on should and on shouldn't. Now remember that should, you're saying to the person, it's a good idea. But with shouldn't, you're saying, it's a bad idea. In my opinion, you should do something because it's a good idea. In my opinion, you shouldn't do something because it's a bad idea. So let's look at a couple of examples of this. So remember that we use the subject, then the modal verb, and then the infinitive. So you should go to York. I'm from Manchester. I love Manchester. Manchester is an amazing city. But if you came to the north of England just for one weekend, York is the place to go. It's absolutely beautiful. And in my opinion, you should go. Okay? Shouldn't. You shouldn't wear. Again, remember, subject, modal verb, infinitive. Shorts in December in Manchester. It's really cold here, and walking around in shorts, you are going to get very, very cold. So what I'm saying is, in my opinion, you shouldn't wear shorts in December in Manchester. But remember, with a weak obligation, you can still choose. You can choose to listen to me and go to York. Or you can say, no, I don't want to go to York. You can choose to wear shorts in December in Manchester. I would think you were crazy, but you can choose. Okay, it's not a rule, it is only my opinion. It's only a piece of advice. Now remember that I mentioned ought to and oughtn't to. Well, we can put them in here. So you ought to go to York. And remember that to is part of the modal verb here. So we've got our subject, then our modal, then our infinitive. The to does not go with the verb, it goes with the modal verb. And over here we can put you oughtn't to wear shorts in December in Manchester. Okay, and again remember that this is the modal verb here and this is the infinitive in here. As I mentioned in the previous video, I really don't like these. What I want to give you, whether you're a teacher watching this or whether you're a student watching this, I want to give you natural English. If you're a teacher, I want you to point these things out to your students. If you're a student, I want you to listen to these, because if you say to somebody in the street, you ought to go to York, it will sound strange. It's good English, but it will sound strange to a native speaker because we don't usually use this. We use should much more often. But, and this is something that I haven't mentioned in the post that you're reading, but something that I thought I would add additionally to this video, and that is a phrase that we do use very often, and that is had better and had better not. Now this means that it's a piece of advice, but if you don't listen, something bad will happen. So for example, you would have must here, a rule, should here, a piece of advice, and had better would go somewhere in the middle. It's like strong advice. And the same with had better not. So let me give you some examples. All right, you are driving along the road very, very fast. And I see a police car. Now, I can say you should slow down, but you say, I should, doesn't matter. But I don't want the police to see us driving very fast, so I say, you had better slow down. Or the police will arrest us. So there is always a negative part here. Okay, so that would be a negative. Okay, so what you're saying is, if you don't listen to me, it's not a rule, if you don't listen to me, this bad thing will happen. Over here, it's Christmas in Manchester, and at Christmas, not just in the UK, I'm assuming in many countries, it's tradition to go out and get very drunk. And there are lots of drunk people walking around at the moment. But imagine that you are out with your friend and he has had 8 beers. And he's sort of slurring his speech, he's wobbling around, and he says, I want another beer. Now, you can say to him, you shouldn't have another beer. But do you think he would listen to you? Probably not. So, it might be better to say, you had better not have another beer. Or, and again we need that negative, what happens if you drink too many beers? You might throw up. So we put the negative in here. Would he listen to you? Probably not. But he is more likely to listen to you if you're using this strong piece of advice. I hope this video has been useful, and join me again right below when we will be talking about lack of obligation. Take care.